NFL. Mahomes gave credit to Lamar Jackson being on the same level after being this season's unanimous MVP. Mahomes is only 24, Lamar, he's only 23. So we can expect a lot of exciting matchups down the road between the two. Former NFL quarterback and Super Bowl champ Steve Berline is joining us. Steve, is Mahomes-Lamar the next Brady-Manning rivalry in the AFC?
Well, we all sure hope so, I think. It'd be great if it got to that point. But there's a lot of things that have to happen before we can start billing these guys at that level. I mean, they've only had, how many games have they played against each other? 2, I think, so far in their career, and they're both 2 years into it as a starting quarterback. I think there's a lot of things that have to happen still, but truly I think the potential is there for a huge rivalry. We already know what Patrick Mahomes is going to do. If he stays healthy, he's going to rewrite every record that's out there. I mean, if he stays healthy and that team continues to have the weapons that he's got around him, he's going to rewrite everything. And we know what he can do. He's won the big games. He's shown he's got the ability to step up and play at the highest level at the biggest moments. Lamar Jackson, he burst onto the scene this year. There's a lot more questions, I think, about Lamar Jackson when you look at what he's going to do long term. And number one is just how long can he play the way that he's playing? How long is his body going to hold up and allow him to play at that level? Now, what he did this year, we've never seen out of a quarterback before, running the football the way he did, and his development from year 1 to year 2 as a passer, astronomical. And I think he'll continue to work and develop that way because we know his work ethic is at a very high level. He's extremely competitive. He's going to push himself to prove everybody that doubts him wrong. And he's going to do the things he's got to do to continue to develop. Now, the question is whether his body's going to allow him to have that 10, 12, 14-year career playing the way that he does play. If you want to talk about some comparisons, let's talk about Colin Kaepernick, Cam Newton, guys like that were runners, the athletic quarterbacks that ran the football and were asked to run the football, but their bodies were not able to hold up over time, or they didn't develop as a passer over time. Forget about all the other stuff with Cam Newton and with Colin Kaepernick especially. Look at what happened after he made his run to the Super Bowl. The 12-4 year when he was in 2013, they were 12-4. You know what his records were the next few years? 8-8 in 2014. 2-6 in 2015, 1-10 in 2016, because he didn't evolve and develop as a quarterback. He didn't continue to get better. Defenses figured out how to take away the things he was comfortable with. Can Lamar Jackson continue to stay ahead of that curve? Guess who the offensive coordinator was for both of those quarterbacks? Greg Roman. Right. Colin Kaepernick and Lamar Jackson. So Greg Roman, challenges on him, too, as well. If he stays with Lamar Jackson, how can they stay ahead of the curve and keep him developing and evolving as a quarterback? And really, more importantly, I think, as he gets up into his career, he's got to continue to develop as a passer, which I think he will. Again, year 1 to year 2, astronomical. So I think the sky's the limit for him. If his body holds up, these two guys have shown the ability to be able to turn it up and play at a high level in the big games. We'll see where it goes.
Yeah, Steve, I agree with you. Look, Mahomes, we already know he's in this. Like, he is, assuming he stays healthy, there are no other questions about him. What he does is sustainable. There's no doubt, and he's got Andy Reid, the great coach. He's got Tyreek Hill. He's got Travis Kelce. He's got, Damian Williams. He's got, McCole Hardman for the next few years. So he's going to be in this discussion. Who's going to be the other guy? I think Lamar is the best choice at this point. My only question is sustainability. It's not, because we've seen Mahomes win in the playoffs, obviously. We haven't seen Lamar do it. The 2 good teams he's faced that have seen him twice. I know he saw Cincinnati twice. They're not good. He saw the Browns twice last year. They're not good. Pittsburgh was, injury riddled and all that stuff. The 2 teams he saw twice that were good, the Chargers 2 years ago, and last year, the Titans, they bottled him up early. And I know he had big numbers against the Titans, and he played okay. Right. I mean, his problem is if they get down in a playoff game, now you got to change everything, and he has to become a passer. I agree with you in that this summer is huge for him. Because if he makes the same type of leap or even 2/3 the leap that he made last year in the offseason, that's what's necessary. Because as time goes on, Cam Newton, you mentioned. Cam Newton is twice as big as Lamar Jackson. Right. And he couldn't take the consistent hits, and it broke his body down. Over time, I think Lamar is, as he slows down, as he takes more hits, he's going to become more of a passing quarterback. And if he can do that well, then this can be Brady-Manning.
Yeah, no, I don't think this will be Brady-Manning, but it like you said, it has the potential to be, but it's not going to be. These guys matched up 17 times, like 5 times in the postseason, 3 or 4 times in the AFC Championship game. Like, they were the elite of the elite. Like, they literally led their teams, and it was all about them. When I look at these guys, their styles are completely different. Pat Mahomes is very similar. He's kind of a combination of both quarterbacks, Tom Brady and Peyton Manning. But you mentioned something that I mentioned earlier, Greg Roman. When it comes to the style of play that Lamar Jackson and the Baltimore Ravens play, it fits tremendously well for the regular season. Can they change and turn that up a notch in the postseason? And then you look at the skill guys that he has around him versus Pat Mahomes.
No comparison.
Right.
No comparison. You're talking about a guy who has arguably his threats are, his 2 biggest targets are his 2 tight ends. And then you have a receiver who is a smaller guy who's been in and out of the lineup, so he doesn't have as many weapons in the arsenal that Pat Mahomes has. And then outside of these 2 quarterbacks, Deshaun Watson.
That's what I was going to ask you, Steve. Can he be in the conversation, Deshaun Watson, who people have seemed to poo-poo despite some of the numbers, and we've seen him be spectacular?
We have seen him be, and I'm a huge, Deshaun Watson fan too. I mean, the guy, I've had him as my fantasy quarterback the last couple of years because I love that guy. I mean, and he's proven himself in the big games too. And his combination of running and passing the football, he's a thrower.
Yes.
I mean, he can sling it, and there's no doubt. Now, both of he's way ahead of Lamar Jackson in terms of his pocket ability as a passing quarterback. So you have to put Deshaun in that category too. You got to put Russell Wilson in that category too, with what Russell can do as a quarterback. And Russell, he doesn't take a lot of hits, so he's still going to be. He's got another, at least 7 or 8 years left, you would think as well.
Yeah, Steve, I want to ask you the sustainability of Lamar. We saw 3 pocket quarterbacks this year get injured, kind of maybe fluky. Drew Brees, Nick Foles, who won a Super Bowl, and Ben Roethlisberger, all just hit in the pocket. Lamar, I know he's a running quarterback, but do you really feel he takes a lot of hits? Because to me, it's like he's more Russell Wilson. Elusive, knows when to slide, unlike, say, an RG3.
Well, when you talk about, you mentioned Breeze and Roethlisberger, those are 2 pocket guys that are older up in their career. And they've had, they've had the cumulative effect of a long career as well. There's no doubt, standing in the pocket, that's the kind of quarterback I was. I got the crap beat out of me for a lot of years. But
You're still standing,
I'm still, as far as you know, I got 2 new hips and a few other issues, but I'm doing okay. But the bottom line is everybody's different. I mean, we saw Patrick Mahomes dislocate his knee this year, his kneecap, just on a fluky play on a quarterback sneak. Durability is the question with all these guys. As you said, we had a body of work of how many games between Brady and Manning? I mean, it was
17.
17 meetings between those 2 guys. It's going to define itself over time. The question is going to be whether Lamar can continue to develop as a passing quarterback and whether they put weapons around him. Patrick Mahomes, by the way, makes everybody on his team better.
Right.
Because he's got the special qualities as a pocket passer who can also break a defense down with his feet, but also especially in extending plays. And when he gets outside of that pocket, he's not looking for a completion or to get a first down. He's looking to throw the dagger. He's looking to end it right there, one play. And there are very few quarterbacks that have that ability, so he's very unique.
Doesn't running, and look, I got to admit, I've been surprised that Lamar was fully healthy through this year because I didn't think a guy could run that much and survive. But it does put you at a greater risk, doesn't it?
No doubt.
I mean, running the football like that.
And he always
took some shots. He did take a few big shots.
He took a few, but he's really good at avoiding the hits. So he's really smart and doesn't take a lot of big hits. But as we all know, there still is a cumulative effect. If you're asking him to run the ball 15 to 20 times a game, all the cutting on his knees and on his ankles and the breaking down and trying to make the moves that he makes, bodies falling on top of him, getting yourself in awkward positions. As you age, those things start to take a toll. So you have to evolve. He's not going to be able to run the ball when he's 30 years old the way he's running the ball right now. It's just you can't ask him to do that if you want him to be your quarterback long term.
All right, good stuff, Steve. Coming up next, will the Knicks...
cho hồ nước đầy là mặt gương soi non xanh mà nước biếc ôi ơ khoan nhạt mái chèo Nhìn bóng chiều in ngân nước, ta nhìn đất trời một dòng nghiêng